Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BETSPERTS. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christenson, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor, pretty in pink. How are you today? How was the weekend?
It's like a salmon. Weekend was bad. The second vaccine kind of got me. I didn't have like a fever or anything, but man, I slept about 4 hours later than I normally would on Saturday morning, and then I took like a nap in like a sweatshirt under a bunch of blankets. Had the chills a little, got me out of some yard work, but I also felt like shit, so that wasn't great. I'm back now. I got the Pfizer running through my veins. I'm fully vaxxed, ready to go for the year. Let's go 2021, the year of we're back. So feeling good, feeling better, and yeah, even took in some playoff hockey, not really playoff NBA, but the end of the NBA season, and then some playoff football. My Jackrabbits couldn't quite get it done, but it was a really good game once it finally got started again. So pretty fun year for FCS spring ball. I think they should do that every year. Draft be damned. And obviously the Preakness too. Sat and watched some horse racing. It was a hell of a kick at the end. That was an awesome race.
Yeah, it was. I had a little bit of Rombauer because I was using like my $10 free bets on stuff, and that was one of the horses that Mike gave out, and that was the highest odds. So slap that on there. That was a nice little back end win there. So he didn't hit the exotic or anything, but thanks for picking the winner on Rombauer there. That was pretty good. And congratulations to you, by the way. Mr. Moses Brown hit the multi there. I don't know, what was that, a special? How would you describe that?
Yeah, it was the specials because you've seen this as we get into the end of the NBA season here. There's a lot of uncertainty with some of these teams, and I mean, kudos to the Clippers for losing to Houston and Oklahoma City somehow to slide into that 4 seed. And it's funny, like the whole point is to avoid the Lakers till the conference finals. Lakers might lose. The Lakers might screw this up, especially if that ankle isn't good for LeBron. But I mean, yeah, absolute kudos to the Clippers for managing that. But yeah, when you win on the player props, it didn't even list any Clippers at one point because there was so much uncertainty. It just listed a few. And
probably smart.
Yeah, shout out to our guy Sledge Picks there, Sledgehammer in the NBA chat. He said Moses Brown over rebounds. So I played that, but then I played him over 13.5 rebounds or something. And then I was just looking for more Moses Brown, and there was a Moses Brown. That's his name, right? Brown?
Yeah.
Am I getting that right? Moses Brown over 13 rebounds, over 2.5 assists, and over 10 points. And then I bet it and forgot about it. And then I checked at halftime, and he had like 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. I said, well, here we go. Then I had to end up paying attention to just a garbage. I mean, just That's a preseason. Funny. It was a preseason game. It was awful. Who's the other guy? Tony, I can't think of his name now. Tony, I want to say Tony Foster. I feel like that's a referee. But
that is.
Yeah, the front court of these two guys that I'd never heard of pulling down like 30 combined rebounds. Like it was something to behold. But we're done with the season, right? We're completely done. Everything's
over.
Everything's
no
over.
More. We get to put a wrap on this mess of a year.
It was kind of messy. It'll be nice to get back into normalcy. And I'm going to bring up a full screen graphic for this because I have dealt with I've been asking a lot of questions about this, and this is the best chart I've seen. It's funny, we were like hunting for it, and you found one, and you're like, oh, it's just on NBA.com. Weird.
They're the best.
But yeah, so the play-in tournament was a bit confusing to me. I know other people have had questions. Here's a gorgeous little flow chart. So you can see at the bottom, like I'm not even going to let Alex do this. I feel like I've looked at this closely enough where I could even explain it because you've explained this to me multiple times, but I'm a visual learner. So you got the Lakers and Golden State, and whoever wins gets to be the 7 seed. That's it. You're done. Same with Boston and Washington. You get to be the 7 seed. You get to play Phoenix and Brooklyn, respectively. If you lose, you go into another game because you were one of the higher of the 4 seeds. You get double elimination. So the 9 and 10 seeds play. Losers just completely eliminated. Memphis and the Spurs, and then Charlotte and the Pacers. Losers are eliminated. Winner goes into the second play-in game versus the loser of those first ones. And then those 2 teams will play for the 8th seed. So no matter what, the 8 seeds are going to have played 2 games already.
Very good.
Which is goofy because then you played 2 games and then you get to play like the Sixers or the Jazz. So rough.
Let's take a look at the schedule. They get a couple days off.
Easy being it. Yeah, that's true. It's never easy being an 8 seed, but I guess you get some. There's something to be said for staying, warmed up. Or I don't know, Christ. So and then Scott Newman here asks, "Who asked for this format? Seems so unnecessary." I don't know. Do you have a take on that, Alex? Why they're going just a couple extra games? Money? It doesn't seem like it's that much money for a couple extra garbage games between middle of the road teams.
I think it was definitely a way to make up some of the money. They cut 10 games from every team. I'm sure that this just doesn't cover all of it, but I'm sure it helps. It was also a way of acknowledging that there was going to be a lot more higher variability to the season to give teams a chance. Say, for example, the Lakers injury stuff started earlier and they fell into 9. I think LeBron would be talking a lot more differently about this playing game scenario. It's things like that. As you go back through the season, we got lucky this year. It was pretty deep. I mean, you look out at the West, San Antonio had a bad end to the year, but they kind of knew where they were. Memphis, they seem to me like they deserve a shot to make the playoffs, things like that. Yes, they did sell it as, possibly trying to stop tanking. All it really does is change the tanking scenario. As we saw, as the Clippers reminded us, you can tank whether you're in the playoffs, you can tank whether you're out of the playoffs. There's always going to be some sort of lack of effort, if you will, maybe a will to lose, to try to be nice about it. And I think this limited some of it. It made, I think, the middle sections a lot more interesting. That Atlanta, Miami kind of race there to avoid falling in with Boston. That was kind of fun, I think. Bringing Los Angeles into this, I think is going to be kind of interesting. So overall, I think it's more of a positive than a negative. It's kind of clunky, but what the heck? More serious basketball.
Yeah, I guess they're fun. They're especially now that the best part about the whole thing is that the Lakers went into the play and they're mad. And LeBron all of a sudden realized it's like, I don't like it anymore now that we're down here. So I'm with it. Which brings me to your picks. You had a couple picks. In fact, speaking of of the LeBron play-in game, when are these then? Is this tonight or I haven't looked at the schedule.
I'm taking a look
on hockey.
Boston, Washington is tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow night. I like under 234 there. I have this total at 229, a little closer to 230, really, if I was going to post a number. It's on the move a little bit. I'm seeing 233. I really probably would draw the line at 233. I think any lower than that and, probably past there. As you start to look, we've got the playoff pace that's going to be settling in. These are generally tighter games. They're going to be more contested. As you go back and look at the matchups between these two teams, Boston lines up nicely with Washington. They can take Marcus Smart and put him on Beal. They're smart enough to let Westbrook kind of run around and do all the stupid stuff that he wants to do. But at the same time, they're covering everybody, so it takes a little bit longer. The pace was down in both of those games. So, just looking at the stats again and the numbers, I have it at 229.5, 230. If I look back again for some more context in the matchup, I like the under here. So happy to jump in early. And again, this is on the move. So I'm going to draw the line there at 233, Andy. Playoff unders. It's going to be a thing.
It's a different kind of basketball. Especially when we start making fun of the OKC game. We're getting not only that Moses Brown game-winning shot, really. I mean, it wasn't. I guess that three-pointer put him up, but Moses Brown put the lockdown, put the clamps on it. But yeah, it's a whole different kind of game we should see. And then we're getting a question. This is honestly the first comment from this account ever that had any semblance of value or anything. It's just smartassery, chicanery, skullduggery. Are there fans for both games? I don't know.
It looks like there are going to be fans for both of these games. It'll be small numbers, but if I'm looking for basically what's going on in Boston, I think they do have some people there. Looks like the team's permitted to have 12% capacity. So we'll see what that looks like. And then the Golden State Lakers game, I believe the Lakers have fans.
Might have
don't allow fans to return to the Staples Center. It looks like we will have Lakers fans. Yeah, it looks like they had Lakers fans as of April 19th. So there should be fans at both of these games.
I was going to say I had a good.
Just about everybody, I think, has some number.
For the NFL, I had a good chart for that, or like a website that always updated on that would tell me what the situation were in different stadiums. So I might have to try to hunt something down that for the NBA. But yeah,
NBA.com has a decent site, and it's a little, you got to go through and read some of it, but it's not bad. Let's set something up.
Golden State straight up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they're playing the Lakers here. We don't know what the status of LeBron James is. I expect that he is going to play, but at the end of the day, I'm happy to play a team that's been playing good basketball, that's been playing together, versus a Lakers team that, knows that they don't necessarily have to win this game. They, I'm sure, want to win this game, get done as quickly as possible and start resting. But, as I start to look, I have this number closer to 3 myself. So I would play 5 plus 175, for half a unit there, play a full unit again on the spread and sprinkle again half on the money line. I think this is going to be much more competitive than this number indicates. So I would play this at 5. I'm seeing 4.5, maybe a smaller play on that, smaller play on the money line. I'm looking at like plus 165 in that range. But I think Golden State's going to be very competitive in this game. Again, I have the spread myself at 3. The money line, I'd probably place it like plus 150, something like that. So like the Warriors there, again, I think it's going to be pretty competitive, even if LeBron does play.
And then a quick question from Talking Tour on Periscope. Any concern about how poorly small ball worked against the Lakers last playoffs?
A little bit, but my biggest concern with the Lakers is how healthy they're going to be. They still haven't seen them come back and play at anything that looks like full strength. Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee were their options at center last year, which, don't sound like the greatest names in the world, but that's a much higher level of athleticism than, they have every night, playing Marcus Gasol, playing Andre Drummond and things like that. Drummond has looked pretty good. I've been optimistic about him, but I wonder if the dynamic's going to be a little different this year. And as you start to look at some of the matchups, I think teams have, the size to be competitive with them. Sure.
I dig it. I'm in. I'm always fine cheering against LeBron. And it's kind of a busy week here. We've got a men's tennis tournament we're probably going to have to talk about eventually as well. But we have a major golf championship. I haven't gotten super deep into that, but it hit hard and it hit quick. Like there's matchups up already. We're at that point where it's a major tournament. I just played, my Scotty Scheffler play. Like he's like 45-1 now. So not super great on that. I'm not happy about that, but I did nab a couple this morning for various reasons. Reed is just, again, Reed should be 30. I don't understand a 40-1. He's won a major. He's got a lot of, I don't believe fully in the win equity thing, but he's a better player than 40-1, even in this field. Zalatoris is more of a FOMO pick. I should have grabbed it at an earlier number when everybody else was, but he's shown he can play, with anybody right now. Some of these young guys, it used to be these young guys they'd take a couple years, you'd see them like make a run at a top 10, but now with what Morikawa did last year and what some of these younger players are doing off the Korn Ferry Tour, it's a quick graduation. So even at 60-1, I wish I'd got a bigger number, but I took that. And then Corey Connors, always Corey Connors. I'm there. I've got my numbers to back up. I like everything about him. Even not dependent on the course, like just based on his play, his numbers. 75-1's a little heavy, especially, again, putting is usually something I throw out for the most part, but this is going to be, as our Dwayne in the chat mentioned this in the golf chat, he says like, this is a super putting doesn't matter course. So I'm going to be looking at some other guys that I love guys who can't putt, because it does drag their numbers down a little, and I don't think it's going to matter as much here as well. So a couple of early looks. I'll take some swings on some other stuff. I'll probably have a bigger card because it is a PGA championship. It is a major. I will definitely have approaching the green tomorrow because I'm back in the office and I have the internet speed to do it rather than being in a Georgia suburb, kind of out in the country where things weren't going so well. But
not good internet speed through the tree.
Yeah. Bunch of golf stuff this week. I'll be excited about that. And yeah, it'll be fun getting into another one because, the offerings from week to week are so good, but man, when you get into a major, the amount of markets they have up, the amount of head-to-heads you can look at. I usually have 10 to 15 head-to-heads sometimes when these majors run around. So excited for that. I'll get more into that as the week progresses. We'll probably have a golf cast. I'll have approaching the green, and any questions you have on that, obviously hit me up on Twitter.
We'll get your Corey Connors jersey if he wins. There should be jerseys for stuff like that. I feel bad that tennis players and golfers don't get jerseys. We have to figure out some way to make those.
I know we've always said that about like tennis players. Like I'm sure you can like find one of their shirts that, their sponsor makes them for a thing. But even that, it's not as cool because it doesn't say their name. Like no one else knows. It's like, oh, that's just a really nice Adidas activewear top or whatever you have. Like, yeah, it's actually, it's actually the, whatever from Munich. What was the Zverev Munich one from a couple years ago? The black one. Like, I wanted that one badly. So speaking of tennis, and not good tennis, as far as tournaments, I mean, we're taking.
I'm willing to admit that.
Yeah, no, I mean we're taking a step back from the previous tournaments. Like, these aren't as big. Better like 2 days ago.
Yeah, they're 250 events. I would think if I look at the WTA rankings off the top of my head, I think the top 25 is taking this week off. Outside of a couple names, Serena Williams is attempting to play. It's a little bit of a warm up. The French Open is coming up soon. This is kind of a warm up event for a lot of these players, but still have a lot of talented players in the field. We'll start in Belgrade again. We're still on clay here. Wang Jiyu or Jiyu Wang, depending on where you look, is playing Alexandra Sasnovich as a small dog here. Sorry if I forgot to put the price up there. I'm looking at plus 140. I would play this down to plus 130, plus 130. Plus 130 looks good to me. But again, I'm looking at plus 140. So it looks like it's moving against me a little bit. I have this closer to a pick 'em, frankly. Sasnovich is very competitive, but not as good on clay as she is on hard courts. Wang, again, has kind of the requisite power you need to hit winners here, and I think we'll have a chance to determine a lot of this match. Happy to back her at a dog price. Again, I would have this pretty close to minus 110 each way, maybe shaded a little bit to Sasnovich because she's the higher-ranked player, and you see some of that. And then down at the bottom, we have another tournament in Italy. Again, Belgrade's in Serbia. We'll be in Parma for one of our favorite bets. Coco Gauff is playing again. We're going to take over 20.5 here. If you have 21 at less than standard juice, that's fine too. The 2.5 set price I didn't like. I went and looked at it. It was pretty close to my number. It looks like they've made an adjustment there. Coco Gauff coming off a nice week in Rome. She's been playing much better on the clay. Again, a younger player. It's harder to figure her out because she has less results, frankly, on the dirt. But I expect her to be competitive here. Happy to play her overs, but I think she is susceptible here, and that's why I'm also going to play Kanepi on the money line. A smaller play for me, just half a unit there on the plus 200. But Kanepi is very good on clay. Didn't play last week, isn't coming in great form, but has had some chance to practice here a little bit and warm up for the last week. So I think she'll be able to take advantage of Gauff, who might be a little tired. And again, Kanepi's not going to be bothered playing a longer match. She's happy to win this thing 7-6, 7-5, something like that. So happy to take the over 2.5, and we'll pass on the sets here, Andy. Sorry, no stack.
You do what you can, and it's good. You're not just playing it to play it. Like, that's good advice. If your numbers don't make it value, don't play it just for shits and giggles. So I appreciate that. And then I will say, and we'll preface this with make sure to still get your $500 risk-free bet, which you can place on anything, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, anything like that. Find yourself a nice underdog.
Warriors money line.
Yeah, bet the Warriors money line with this. That's a very good bet to take your risk-free bet because you're risking $0 for that. So you can sign up. The links are in our pinned tweet, but I did want to mention them because one of their traders reached out, and there's a couple of fun bets, and they did get up a lot of their other markets as far as rookie of the year, MVP, things like that. But something they had was, and you see at the very top, last winless team. It's like a reverse. It's almost like Survivor. It's in the spirit of Survivor League. We have last winless, and in the next slide you'll actually see they have last undefeated team as well. So I haven't broke this down yet. Obviously, we haven't got fully into the episode on the deep dive where we get into schedules, but this is something I'm probably going to try to attack later this week. See if there's any value on some of these teams. I included every team. Like, we're not betting the Bills or Chiefs or Colts to be the last winless team. I put them all on there just because I believe in completion or completeness.
It's good to see the spectrum.
It's good to see the entire market, but it's probably coming from that left column in both these cases. So I want to see if I can find some value on maybe the Raiders or the Eagles or even somebody like the Steelers, something like that. So I'm going to look at some schedules.
I was looking at the Raiders stuck out.
Yeah, the Raiders are a little bigger number, but again, some of these teams are going to play each other early on, so it is going to
come down to week 5. The Bears go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, Bears being fourth. That's not great. Especially, I guess those odds imply it's going to be some Andy Dalton early on. But like I said, we have last team to be undefeated as well. It's basically that market inverse. Like it's flipped. Buccaneers 5-1, Chiefs plus 550, Niners 7-1. So, and yeah, Patrick says, "My, how the Steelers have fallen from that 11-0 start." It seems like that was a long time ago. The Steelers are way down in the odds, but last team to be undefeated is a fun one because oftentimes it's not the best team. It is, a team that's decent. I mean, last year it was the Steelers. The Steelers, they obviously weren't making a lot of noise in the playoffs outside of just being an embarrassment against the Browns. That game was hilarious. I can't imagine how many live overs I would find if I went back and clicked on my bet history for that game. But there's some teams here that are worth looking at, whether it's the Bills, the Rams, the Vikings are in the first column. That's interesting. I'll have to see what their schedule looks like. Maybe they do have an easy early schedule, but something I need to do when I get into my schedule deep dives as we go through the week here. But definitely check this out if you are into anything like that, especially if you're a big Survivor League guy, this might be right up your alley. So WinBet puts those up this week, and as I said, they also have Rookie of the Year, MVP, Defensive Rookie of the Year, a few other markets up there. So you can start to fill in your NFL portfolio. It's that time of year. Get weird with it.
Yeah, there's a couple that stuck out to me. Again, that Raiders one, they start Ravens, Steelers, Dolphins, Chargers, Bears, Broncos, Eagles. And then they go into the bye.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I was going to say there might have even been some. I think those were the two really unique ones. But they also have NFL.
Everything else is up.
Yeah, they have to make the playoffs, yes or no. Both way markets on those. Those are some good ways to attack.
Oh, they got the no? That's always nice.
And then I didn't even check this out too, but it was NFL exact season wins. So I'm gonna have to look at that too. That might be a fun one to, if you can find some bigger numbers on some numbers that are right in the middle of where you make their distribution, something to attack. Otherwise, yeah, more NFL as we go. As always, you know how I love the NFL. It's my baby. We'll get there. It's gonna be a while, but for now, just keep on keeping on with the NBA. We're going to have some guests this week. We'll talk some hockey tomorrow. We'll try to do baseball Friday. We're going to have some an NBA guest. We'll probably have a golf guest. It might be guests the rest of the week, just carrying us. I'm going to be kind of lazy this week, but otherwise, yeah, if you're in the YouTube chat, give us a thumbs up because I like those. It makes me feel better about myself. If you're listening to this as a podcast, please rate, subscribe, review if you already haven't. And as always, thanks for joining us in the chat. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for watching, listening, and just hanging out. We'll catch you tomorrow. And music.